Hello, this is Michael from Ekids. Thank you for joining me again. As we continue to talk about the fruits of the Spirit, we've talked about love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and this week we talked about faithfulness. And Jim Bailey did a great job talking to our children about faithfulness. We used the story of Peter when he was arrested by Herod. And see, what had happened was he was arrested, he was chained to a couple guards. Fast forward, God does a miraculous thing and Peter is released. Herod is really upset. And Peter goes on and he continues to preach the gospel. Now here's the thing. In this story, there are two parts of faithfulness that I want both the children and you parents to think about. See, one, God was faithful to Peter. Now I know that it's not every single moment that God releases the chains in your life. Right? Sometimes it doesn't work out the way we think it's going to work out. But trust that God has your best interests in heart. Like I've said before, think with an eternal perspective, not a minute, finite perspective. God has your best interests in mind. He has His best interests in mind, and He has a plan for all of us. Now, so God is faithful. God was faithful to Peter to accomplish what God wanted him to accomplish. Now, the second part is that Peter was faithful to God. And in being faithful to God, he was faithful to others. Peter preached the gospel. Peter led people to Jesus. And that's obviously a really good thing. So he could have simply just quit. He could have went away. He could have taken a nap. He could have done all kinds of other things. But he didn't. See, what Peter did is he continued to preach. So that's the good news. Peter was faithful. What about you? Are you faithful? Do you see the faithfulness of God? So my encouragement, of course, is that one, that you see the faithfulness of God in your life, even in the small things, and think in that eternal perspective. The other thing is that we act faithful. And in this context, let's be faithful to our children. So our children, of course, are super duper important, right? We have more effect on them than we really have on anybody else. So let's be faithful and good to them to be the best parents that we can be through the power of the Holy Spirit. And again, we've talked about the Spirit. We've talked about how salvation leads to the Holy Spirit, how the Holy Spirit leads us to the fruits of the Spirit, and how, again, one of these fruits is that awesome fruit of faithfulness. Let's display that. Let's embody that. Let the Holy Spirit work through us so we can be faithful and show our children faithfulness. So again, love each other, be faithful to God, be faithful to your children. Love you.